Some of the romantic subplots in Welcome to the Ballroom feel incredibly immature, and I don't believe that this is due to poor character writing, or at least not entirely. Rather, this aspect of the series is ingrained in the foundation of the ballroom dancing profession, one which the mangaka, Takeuchi, embraces and avoids. I'd spent the better half of a week attempting to articulate this idea further, but I couldn't do it. That is, until I sat down to watch the newest season of Shokeki no Soma, another show that intrinsically ties its romance to the character dynamics. Comparatively, Shokeki is more akin to a battle royale, where improving your culinary skills is of the utmost importance in surviving Totsuki Academy's excel or be expelled motto. However, both series are largely intent on exploring the characters' internal conflicts, using cooking and ballroom dancing as expressions of their personal growth. Where the true distinction lies is in the concept of social reciprocity, and how it relates to the give and take elements of both professions. Shokeki no Soma establishes from the second episode that in order for Soma to surpass his father, he not only requires professional culinary training, but also a woman that he can dedicate those skills to. Unlike many battle shonens, this second episode tells the audience that a primary goal for Soma will be finding the woman he'll eventually marry, even if he doesn't know that yet. Though it might be presumptuous to nail this theme down solely to romance, rather this is a sub-theme that exists naturally as an extension of the idea that love, whether that be centered around family, friendship, or infatuation, is the key motivation for many aspiring chefs. This can be seen in episode 34, when Akira wins the Fall Elections Festival. In a flashback, we found out that he was a downtrodden, poor kid from the slums, until Jun became his adopted parent, and showed belief in a boy who came from nothing. He eventually enrolled in Totsuki Academy, using her brand of fragrance-infused cooking to inspire meaning in his dishes, even if Jun feels like she's forcing Akira to follow in her footsteps. But without her love and support, he wouldn't have been able to create a true speciality, because his food is solely crafted with the purpose of thanking Jun for giving him a reason to live. In stark contrast, Soma isn't declared the winner not only due to his jack-of-all-trades, master-of-none approach, but also because he's only cooking for himself. Soma is not relying on his compassion for his Polar Star dormitory friends, nor the lofty goal of defeating his father as direct motivation in this tournament. It's just his aspiration to compete against his peers and win. And then to hone this point even further, when Soma does fight for Polar Star Dormitory against Aizen, he incorporates all of the expertise and emotions into the gyoza dish that wins the Rig Shokugeki. What he lacked in the former example was the personal, heartfelt ingredients that come from those he cherishes. Now, of course, fame, monetary gains, and the pleasure derived from experimenting with food are all products as well. But Shokugeki emphasizes love as dwarfing these other goals. And I think that makes perfect sense. Why do fathers or mothers slave away in the kitchen every night? Because they love their children and wish to see them grow up healthily. Why do we take out our wives or husbands to nice restaurants? Because good food is a wholesome expression of their love for one another. It feels mature because it doesn't rely on self-centered needs. On the other hand, ballroom dancing is mostly depicted as a power dynamic in Welcome to the Ballroom. As per conventional rules of the sport, the male must lead the female partner who follows their movesets, rhythm, and general aesthetic. There is only so much space in the judge's eyes for the partners, other than within the context of the couple's skills, while the leads are constantly elevated into the spotlight. For example, in episode 11, the audience is surprised that the Taipei Cup includes an honour for the Ballroom Queen, or the most exceptional partner. They even question what a Ballroom Queen is, since regular competitions do not include this award. It simply isn't a part of the social conversation, which argues that the lead ultimately drives the performance and is awarded the most acclaim for it. To a certain extent, this is true. The lead is called the lead for a reason. But what does the partner do then? Well, the flower and the frame is a concept tossed around in the Taipei Cup, to highlight their importance. This dancing lesson taught to Tatara in his frantic need to show off Marco's brilliance underlies how the frame is similar to the stem of a blossoming rose. In order for that rose to stunningly bloom at the right angle and position to catch the sunlight, the rigid stem must connect and support the flower. In essence, the lead must provide a firm hold and guiding pathway for the partner to draw the attention of the crowd. This is later emphasized by Akira, who suggests that a lead's role is to open a door for the partner to walk through. However, this lesson can only do so much in a competition, where the judges are poised to assess how the lead controls and moves with their partner in unison. This is exactly why Tatara and Marco lost the overall couple award in the Taipei Cup. And I'm not chastising Takeuchi for this either. She is keenly aware of the mutual understanding couples share, addressing this immediately in the aforementioned formation between Tatara and Marco. Gaju shared a long history of Marco as a sibling duo, beginning at a young age after seeing his little sister's infatuation with the sport. Yet their relationship progressively deteriorated as Marco's passive dancing clashed with Gaju's sharp, fiery spirit. She just wanted to dance with her brother, while he needed a partner who he could truly let loose with. This came to a breaking point when Gaju dropped Marco, pairing with Shizuku instead. Of course, our main protagonist, Tatara, swoops in to defend Marco, challenging Shizuku and Gaju to a contest in the Taipei Cup. He had to prove that Marco could captivate the judges more than Shizuku, and in one of the few instances in the series, the lead became the shadow of their partner, accentuating and bolstering her performance. The dynamic completely reversed, with Tatara giving his all to let Marco shine. It's an endearing moment that lends a sense of maturity to all those little sparks of flirtation, even if it never eventuates in romance. But while Takeuchi attempts to comment on the complexities of this balance, she also acknowledges the harsh realities of ballroom dancing competitions. The give and take relationship will not always be equal. For some couples even, a ferocious and dominating lead nets the couple more prestige. This is especially true in the case of Kugiyama, who controls his partner to the extent that they become invisible in his shadow. When Tatara first arrives at Maria's private studio, he senses a deep, unsettling presence to their forms. But surprisingly, Kiyoharu acknowledges how well Kugiyama and his partner are synced with each other. There's no derision or shakiness in his opinion either, with Maria also reinforcing the expertise on display. It wins competitions, it works. Just because it might seem disconcerting and a little bit unfair, doesn't mean it's inappropriate within the context of ballroom dancing. The alternative pathways to success are observed in Tatara's character narrative, opting to introduce the feisty Chinatsu, who had never been in a traditional pairing before. Because ballroom dancing is generally perceived as effeminate, male ballroom dancers aren't anywhere near as common in dancing studios, which led Chinatsu to pair up with Akira, as the lead. A talented lead at that, who has a strong wide grip and proficiency in all styles. This almost makes Tatara her antithesis, being more akin to a partner that morphs and changes to suit the lead. Unfortunately, Chinatsu becomes perplexed by Tatara's dancing as a result, severely impeding their ability to mesh with each other. Despite this, he eventually realizes that Chinatsu won't be pulled down by her lead, and instead he must rise to her intensity, wide rotations, and style of dancing. This culminates in Tatara and Chinatsu clashing and resisting each other in an aggressive, unconventional two-lead approach. For the first time, the characters want an even playing field, although this is the exception to the rule and not the rule itself. It is only possible because of Tatara's innate ability to mirror his partner and Chinatsu's experience as a lead. The dynamic for ballroom dancing still predominantly involves taking, while cooking is more about giving. Interestingly, Takeuchi stresses that pairing up with someone is akin to marrying them, yet it doesn't really resemble marriage in my eyes. Yes, marriage is a selfish endeavour that both sides try to win, but at the end of the day, healthy couples have a positive give and take relationship. She often sidesteps this ideal, attempting to embrace sometimes questionable power dynamics, while also considering the other pathways that exist. Ultimately, I find this to be a more realistic take on ballroom dancing, while Shokugeki idealizes cooking, but neither are wrong in their approach. I think this is a highly subjective viewpoint, but I hope you'll agree that Welcome to the Ballroom tries its best to deal with the social issue at hand. What's a little less subjective is the delivery of fan service in Shokugeki and Welcome to the Ballroom. The former's approach is divisive to say the least, but I find that many people in the community overlook two critical elements that make it easier to digest. The first is the frequency of fan service. In Shokugeki, we are constantly bombarded with naked women and men, in the infamous food orgasms. The audience knows when to expect most of the fan service and are unsurprised when it even occurs outside of these situations, because the show sets itself up in the ecchi genre. On the other side of the spectrum, Welcome to the Ballroom sprinkles female fan service randomly, for little reason other than we're dealing with teenagers, who get flustered over people changing clothes. There's no rhythm or reason to these scenes, and thus they dilute the romantic tension, and make it seem more childish and fleeting. Notice I said that females specifically are incorporated into the fan service scenes. Well, that's the second issue. Unequal opportunity fan service. Shokugeki has no qualms presenting a middle-aged, balding man in his wedding dress, but Welcome to the Ballroom fixates on women, and the one time it doesn't, we attribute it to a distasteful, homophobic display that quickly dampened my enthusiasm for that particular episode. You could argue that this is due to seeing through Tataru's perspective, and that would be true of Soma as well, but Shokugeki doesn't judge, and it doesn't disrespect its audience. That's the major difference, and why it's no excuse for Takeuchi's clumsy writing. I hope these 2 points have conveyed my feelings accurately on the romance in Welcome to the Ballroom. I'd also like to point out that my arguments are based on the mangaka's presentation of cooking and ballroom dancing. If you find yourself agitated by my interpretations of the real-life equivalents, please consider this. Thanks for watching the video, and please subscribe if you'd like to see more content every fortnight.